Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's going on? Today, we are going to talk about Yaphank. All right. This is probably my, I don't know, fourth time recording this because, I mean, let's be honest, there's not much going on in Yaphank. But I mean, I still have some stories. All right. So this will probably run a half hour. Um, yeah, that's about it. If I say enough times, maybe it'll go an hour. Maybe if I say a half hour's worth. But Yaphank, which is another great Long Island name, every Long Island name pretty much is named after a Native American tribe, I believe. I mean, Yaphank, Ronkonkoma, Comstock, Coapeg, whatever. Who cares? But Yaphank is on the east end of Long Island, New York. Yaphank Jail is also known as the Farm because, well, there's a farm there. And they have a butcher program where if you have over 6 months, I mean, like the time that you're serving, if you have more than 6 months, a non-violent crime, and you have outside clearance, meaning that, no escape charges, no attempted escape charges, you can go work at the butcher. And it's not like a butcher in your town. It's one of the butchers where they slaughter the animals. So, as you can imagine, people come back from work very bloody. And they get their butcher's license. Probably not the best idea to give certain criminals a license to butcher or show them how to butcher. But maybe I'm the smartest man in the world. Who knows? So after you complete this program, you get your butcher's license, which is actually really, really cool because they make a lot of money. So more places probably should do that. I was not eligible. I don't remember if this was for my violent felony when I was there this time, or I don't think it was. I think I just had less than 6 months this sentence. And I mean, they make everything for the jail. Well, everything that has cow in it. So basically, they make every hamburger. and sometimes, occasionally, you'll get hamburger with a piece of bone in it. And I'm not talking about like Brontosaurus bone, like Fred Flintstone stuff, but like little tiny pieces. It's disgusting, but still, it's probably one of the better things that is at the jail. Now, also, let me tell you this. I went online and was doing some research, trying to get some pictures to put up in the video and stuff like that. And I learned that Yaphank looks nothing like it did when I was there 20 years ago. When I was there, it was a dorm setting, meaning it was a wide open floor, basically a big open room, a dorm, Now, it looks like a college dorm. They have carpeting. Never been in a jail that had carpeting. Like, it's a little too comfortable for me. You don't want to get too comfortable. You got guys that, and I'm not even lying, you got guys that I saw leave and come back 2-3 times before I got out of there. And we're happy as hell to be back. Like, that is not normal, okay? You are not okay. But some of these guys, they can't make it in society. They go to jail, they got everything they need. They're told when to shower. Well, not told when to shower. They're told what to do when they eat. They got a bed, they got blankets, and they don't have that in the street. So they come there and they feel like somebody. But yeah, so Yaphank is a dorm setting. There is, I believe, 60 guys in a dorm, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Basically, around the outside of the wall, the whole the exterior of the inside is bunk beds. Around the whole far wall, the back wall, and the other wall, bunk beds lined up the whole way. In the middle of the floor is single beds. I've been in both, and neither one is more comfortable than the next. The single bed's kind of cool just because it's not really what I'm used to being in jail. It's either a bunk bed, somebody over me, or if I have a single bed, it's in a cell. So being in a dorm wide open, that was nice. However, being in a dorm setting, I don't care what anybody says, this is my opinion, being in a dorm setting is extremely dangerous, okay? In a cell, your door's locked. Somebody's got a problem with you, they can't get to you because their door is locked as well. in a dorm setting, if you have a problem with somebody, like, you better take care of it quick, because you got to sleep sometime. And all they got to do is get up out of their bed, either by themselves or with several people, and come get you. And it happens, and it definitely happens a lot. Uh, I mean, it's considered a medium security jail because of, like I said before, I think the security levels are defined by how much security there is around the jail. Like Riverhead has the barbed wire fence, and then several rolls of razor wire that are about 6 feet high, just rolled over in spools. So, I mean, for you to get through that, it's not going to happen in one piece. It's not going to happen actually at all, especially in one piece. That stuff is so sharp. It's like when you open a tuna can or something, like in prison, they make tomahawks with tuna cans. That stuff will slice you wide open. You won't even barely touch it, slice you wide open. Like, you do not want to touch that stuff. So Riverhead has that, and they have several doors you got to get through. Yaphank, no. Basically, if you walk out of your dorm and go to the left, from what I remember, I could be wrong, but I recall it just being like a long hallway and there's a door at the end. But pretty basic security, you know. It should almost be a minimum, but I guess it's a minimum's like a camp where you can walk freely. There's no gates at all. But now the layout of Yaphank, I don't know if you guys like when I do this or not. Like, I try to let you visualize it as much as possible so like you understand. When you walk into the dorm, to the immediate left is the bathroom. It's basically a long, narrow room. There's probably about 10 stalls. The stalls have walls on the side of them that are about about 4 feet high. So, I mean, you could easily see over them. There's no doors on the stalls, which to the average person is probably like, man, how do you do that? But as far as degradation goes, that's the least of the problems in jail. The doors aren't a problem. At the end of the stalls are the showers. About 95% of the inmates don't use the showers. Maybe they can't swim, they'll drown, but hey, that's not going to happen in the shower. So don't ask me why they don't use them. Some people I've seen get dragged into the shower because they smelled so bad that they left them with no choice but to get in the shower. Pull them right off their bunk and throw them right in that shower. Then on the opposite wall of the stalls are the sinks. Who cares about sinks, right? Oh, interesting point. In those stalls, right, like I said, there's no doors. So what guys will do is they'll bring a sheet in the bathroom. They'll put the sheet up on this side of the wall and this side of the wall. So now you have some kind of privacy, okay? However, I have also seen guys have problems with people. And when they're in there with that sheet up and their head down, these people will come over and straight kick, right through the sheet and hope to hit you in the head. And doing that while you're doing your business is not a way that I want to get attacked. Talk about getting caught with your pants down. Maybe that's where the term came from. But they also, they would cut hair in there too, which when I was there was this kid, a El Salvadorian kid. He was incredible. Now, in Lehigh over here in Pennsylvania, you get electric buzzers. They give you the clippers to shave your head and stuff like that. But this kid, all he had was a regular Bic razor and a comb. And when I tell you he could give you the sickest skin fade you've ever got in your life, I'm not lying. It was incredible, all right? There's so many talented people in jail. Like, it's really a shame. It's really a shame. People just get caught up. Not bad people at all, you know, good people, bad situations, whatever it may be. But that's normally the theme. So when you come out of the bathroom, straight across on the other side of the door is the bubble. That's where the COs sit. Again, not like out here where they stand on the floor by themselves. They sit inside the bubble, which is basically like a big cement bunker with a giant plexiglass window in the front. They can see everything from there, even though they seem not to see anything. And they're safe. Like, the reason it's so dangerous to have one CO on the floor for so many reasons. Number one, if a guy wants to and he grabs you up, like, what's going to happen? What are you going to do? There's 98 inmates in a cell block in Lehigh. What are you going to do? And then I heard that they sign a waiver when they get the job that if you are taken hostage, they're not coming for you. They're going to lock the doors, turn off the water, and hope that everybody starts panicking or dying of dehydration before they come and get you. And it's a lot of time to be held hostage by inmates that had the balls to even kidnap you. But I mean, in like Riverhead and Yaphank, there's more than one CO. There's normally 2 on a shift. But even then, like if there's a fight, they're not coming to save you. Like they gotta call for backup. They gotta wait for backup to come there, and then they'll come in. So, 10 seconds turns into 30 seconds, 30 seconds turns into a minute, and that's plenty of time to absolutely destroy somebody's body. A minute is a ridiculously long time if you are getting your rear end kicked. I mean, time a minute on your watch and imagine that you're getting kicked in the head, whatever. That's a long time, man. A lot can happen in that time. So, all right, now you're walking straight. So after the bathrooms, after the bubble, there's the quote unquote day room area, which it's not a room, it's still in the dorm. There's steel picnic table on one side, steel picnic table on the other in case you want to have a picnic. And then there's a flat screen on the left side, which was the black TV. I'm not racist, it's the truth. There was a flat screen on the right side, which was the white TV and like the others. But I would switch between both because the black TV was normally always on BET, which I like. And I hang out with ethnic people more than I did white people. And on the white side was, what the hell is on the white side? Maybe Judge Judy, Cops, court TV, stuff like that. And I never used to understand why you would come to jail and decide to start watching jail shows or cop shows rather, unless you're doing research or something. Like, I don't want to watch people getting arrested when I'm in jail. It's not really the best. First 48, that's another big one, but I like that show. And let me tell you something about First 48 quick. When they got you in that interrogation room, number one, there should be no interrogation. You tell them right away, I want to speak to my lawyer. Story's over. End of the show if everybody was smart enough to do that. But these kids think they're going to outsmart detectives. Listen, if you're guilty and you try to play that game, 99.9% of the time, you're going to get caught. Like, they can read it all over you. They're trained to do that. The other thing is, if a detective, if you're inside an interrogation room and a detective says, hey, want a cigarette? Something's wrong, guy. He don't care about you. He's getting your DNA, okay? You haven't been arrested yet, so he's got no right to take your DNA. So what they're doing is taking your DNA legally. They'll give you food, which you'll see on First 48, and they'll let them smoke in a room. Smoking inside is illegal. They're not going to let you sniff. Hey, you want some blow? And let you sniff coke off the goddamn table, right? No. But they'll let you smoke. Your DNA is all over the back of that cigarette. When you eat, you touching that wrapper and stuff, your DNA is all over that. On the straw of the soda, they give you soda also, water, whatever. Your DNA is all over that cup. That's all they need. Now they got your DNA. So if you do end up in that situation, take the cigarette and eat the cigarette butt afterwards. Or take the food and eat the wrapper. Whatever you got to do. Or ask him to open the wrapper and hand you the sandwich. I'm not a lawyer, but I should be. So, all right, the TV's now in the day room. One side will turn theirs up. So now the other side's got to turn theirs up to here. It keeps going until they're at max. Now it's loud. Now everyone's talking over each other. Jail's the loudest place in the world. I've said it before. It sucks. It's ridiculous, okay? After the day room area is the bunks, which I think I already explained. Did I? Whatever. We'll do it again. Why not? The whole outside wall is bunk beds. The center of the floor is single beds. About 60 guys, like I said. I've been in both. I've been on both. I like the single beds better. It's just nicer because, anytime you get a single bed in jail, you're normally in a cell. So to have a single bed on open floor, it was almost like you could look at the stars, even though It was just a moldy ceiling above you, but you can pretend that mold is the stars, and it works sometimes. It's also incredibly dangerous. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it happen too many times, and it's my opinion. It's my show, so I don't care about your opinion. But if you have a problem with somebody in a dorm setting, you better either settle that immediately at whatever means necessary, or don't sleep, because they can get you anytime they want. And they will wait up, they'll watch you until they know you're sleeping. And next thing you know, you got 10 guys pulling you off your bunk, or leaving you up there and just pounding. That doesn't sound good. Pause. Or just beating you up. And it's not a good thing. Yaphank also has an outside yard like Riverhead, which is awesome because, like I said, Lehigh does not have one. It's just a basketball court though, with a fence around it. I think it's actually a tennis court too, but I don't think convicts play tennis that I know of. They may, but I was always on the basketball court because when I was younger, I was nice as hell, and everybody who knows me will tell you that. I used to cook these guys. Like, they would get so mad. And now I can't even touch net. I used to be able to dunk in 9th grade. I can barely touch net now because I'm 41 years old. Ridiculous. So Yaphank was a lot of cliques also. You wouldn't typically think of Long Island being known for gangs, because it's not. I mean, MS-13, we had a big problem with. Donald Trump had to come out here, and if you were Spanish or looked Spanish, they deported you to El Salvador. You get to El Salvador, they'd be like, I'm Korean. Like, all right, never mind. So there's a lot of gangs in jail. You know, Long Island, the way it's set up, and listen, this is just the truth. Like I said, I keep it 100% real. The LIE 495 runs through the middle of Long Island. Basically, for the most part, everything north of the LIE on the North Shore is nice. South of the LIE gets progressively worse as you get towards the ocean. I mean, I lived on both sides. You know, I lived plenty of time on the North Shore, all through my schooling, all through my childhood. Even just before I moved to Pennsylvania, I was on the North Shore. I was right on the border, actually. I was at the LIE. I also lived in Bayshore, which is extremely hood. My 4th Avenue, where I lived, was the host roll. And it was bad, this place. All right. Then I was also in Deer Park and Wyandanch area. Right on Long Island Avenue, right by Wyandanch. Wyandanch is horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, people out here in jail even heard of Wyandanch, and people just don't know Long Island for some reason. They think of the Hamptons, that's it. I lived in CI, Central Islip, for a while. That's when I got my violent felony and got caught by the U.S. Marshals. I talked about that, I believe, in the first episode. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I'll do an episode on that too. But Central Islip is also not a great place. I mean, what can I say? Brentwood. A lot of rappers from those areas. Keith Murray, EPMD, Rakim, but who cares? So there was one situation in Yaphank that was my worst situation in all my time in jail. And probably the worst I ever got beat in life. But I'm still here, right? So what happened was for my Kevin Michael Knight Gagney followers, we used to get juice. They used to bring this thing in twice a day, right? It was like a big giant jug filled with juice. I forget what type it was. And a certain group of individuals started wouldn't let anybody else get it, right? And nobody would say nothing because people are doing short time. They want to go home. They don't really want problems. They probably don't want problems in the first place, which is okay because I don't want problems either. I don't want to fight. You know, I don't want to, but I will in a second if I have to. So they kept taking it, wouldn't let nobody else get juice. I want juice. Other guys want juice. I like Capri Suns, Ecto Cooler, stuff like that. So one day it came in, and I was already angry. you know. So as soon as it came in, I pushed it over. Now nobody gets it. I'm not gonna lie, like I know there was a CO there, which is probably why I got the balls to do it. Because I mean, even if they attack me, I might be able to hold myself off long enough before any real damage happened. So I thought I was gonna get my ass kicked right there. Probably should have, but I didn't. And probably the reason being because there was a CO there. So I know I'm gonna have to pay for this. Like it's gonna happen. Just when and where. I was thinking about this for like the next few days. I'm like, man, any day they're coming. Like it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Trying to mentally prepare myself. Never came. About a week later, well, all right, let me explain this first. I was in the second single bed, all right? The guy on the first one was this white guy, I forget his name. The second one was my boy, Bud, aka Kenna Boy. Rest in peace. Dude was the man. Central Islip legend, LOD legend. He was the man. You know, he held me down. I was young. This was one of my first times being in jail. He took care of me, you know, made sure I was all right for the most part, and we hit it off. We were friends ever since. Almost 20 years. He passed away 2 years ago. They say that the PCP he had was laced with fentanyl, which, I mean, it very well may have been. I also used to do that. As I said, I was a garbage pail kid. You know, if it took me out of my mind state, I was there. I did it. And he was smoking. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. He was in patch hog. All of a sudden, he couldn't breathe, which is what fentanyl does. It slows your respiratory system down. So he was running up, knocking on doors like 5:30 in the morning. Nobody would answer. So he ended up dying right there on somebody's lawn. Horrible situation. Like, I mean, I miss that dude, man. I miss him a lot. He was a good guy, man. But anyway, next to him was this Indian kid who he didn't bother anybody, never said a word. Looked like a mix between Gandhi and Earthworm Jim and Stephen Hawkins. Not the best looking kid in the world, right? So, but he was a nice kid, you know. He didn't bother nobody, like I said. So this certain group of individuals, same group, would probably 2-3 times a week walk over to his cell with a sheet like a bag and tell him to give them everything he had. And he would oblige, because what is he going to do? You know? And even if something bothers you in jail, like you can't fight or stick up for somebody until they show you first that they can do it for themselves. You know, if they're not going to stick up for themselves, like, I'm not going to fight your battles, man. Like, you're not my wife, you know. You're not my. I came in here by myself. I'm leaving by myself. That's the attitude. But I mean, it goes back to the predator and prey thing I told you. When you go into jail, you gotta decide, you know, am I going to be a predator, or am I going to sit back and let stuff happen to me? And I damn sure I'm not going to let nothing happen to me, you know? So what these guys were doing wasn't predator prey, really. It was basically preying on the absolute weak. You know, you're basically a vulture preying on somebody who's dead. And I don't respect that. There's nothing to respect about that. That's weak. That's not tough stuff. You know, come and take from somebody who's going to stand up for themselves. So one day, like a week later from the incident that I had, the same individual, I remember your name. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to give you no airtime, but he's named after a famous Motown singer. It's not Al Green. It's not Isaac Hayes. Not Marvin Gaye. But he came over and he was like trying to make a joke out of it, right? He's got a sack over his back, and he's like, oh yo, he's like, run your stuff, give me all your commissary. So I was like, dude, why don't you just leave him alone? He's like, what? I said, why don't you leave him alone? And now this guy's just staring at me, right? So I did the one thing that you don't do in jail is say a certain phrase, whether it be S my D, suck my D, invite him to the hot dog stand. Out here, they have a place called Yakos that sells hot dogs, so they tell him, yo, take him out to Yakos, man. They tell you, yo, eat Yakos, bro. Same thing. You never do that. If you do that, someone's trying to bait you into a fight. Like, you have to fight. Somebody tells you that, invites you to their privates, you have to fight. If you don't, like, you're nothing. You're nothing. So this dude's staring at me, right? And I said, "Hey guy, do you want to F me or fight me?" Dun dun dun. Shouldn't have done it. He's like, get in the back. Meet me in the back, which means we're going to fight, because you fight in the back between the bunks and the single beds, which the CO has perfect eye shot of, but for whatever reason never seems to see it. So now, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm scared. I'm not, it's good. Listen, fear is a good thing, okay? Fear will keep you in the fight if you don't let it consume you, okay? You have to learn how to use it. If you're not scared, you're probably gonna lose, because you're gonna get cocky, and it's just the way it is. So, I didn't want to fight this guy. I did not want to fight this guy. I didn't want to fight him, which is the theme throughout my stories, it seems to be. And I picked up 2 pencils, right? Because I was going to go back there and do what I had to do to win this. So I had a pencil in each hand, and this dude was like, "Yo, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the only way you're going to get a fair fight is if you put those pencils down." I was like, "That's your word. You swear." He's like, "I swear, man. It's the only way." So I put the pencils down. Don't move. I go back there. We square up. We're fighting, and it was even for a minute. And then, like, we had each other locked up. He got me to the ground. As soon as I hit the ground, that's when the piranhas came out. They came from every which direction to put feet on me. It was like getting ran over by a centipede. And one dude stomped on my head, and I felt my whole face crack. I don't remember it hurting immediately because I had so much adrenaline going through me. And I just started saying, I'm like, all right, that's enough. You got me. I'm good. So they back off, and like, they're looking at me, and I go to get up, and the blood was so thick coming out of my mouth, it was like purple. It looked like a zombie, like Walking Dead or something. Just coming down my face onto my shirt. Must have looked crazy. So I was like, "What's up?" And I get up to square up again, and I can see the look on their face. They're like, "Oh my God." Because when I would talk, what happened was my jaw broke under the mandible by my ear and right down the middle. So this whole piece was just in my face. So I go to talk, and it was like the Predator. It was just like, You know how the Predator's teeth could do that? And they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." They're like, "Yo, go to the bubble. Go to the bubble." I go up to the bubble, and I said to CO, I'm like, "CO, I need to go to medical." He's like, "What the hell happened to you?" I was like, "I fell, and now I could barely talk. Like, it's killing me to talk." And he's like, "You did not fall. What happened to you?" I was like, "Officer, I really need medical help right now, please." Now the pain's starting to set in. The adrenaline's wearing off. So he gets me to medical, and that's when it kicks in. I was crying like a female, not a female, I apologize, like a baby. Not gonna lie. My face was out to here already. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. That was the worst pain I've ever had. And I've been through a lot of painful things. So my mother tells me that they call her, and they're like, "Your son has been in a fight. He was injured, and he's on his way to the hospital." And she said, "What happened?" They said, "It's all we can tell you." And they hang up. Can you imagine getting a call like that? You don't know what happened. Like, I might have been stabbed. Who knows? So they have the sheriffs take me to Brookhaven Hospital. I get to Brookhaven. Doctor gives me 1 Vicodin, which is all I got the whole time. And I'm chained to the bed. I'm handcuffed to the bed. I'm dying in pain right now, okay? So the sheriffs apparently didn't want to stay there all night, okay? So, and they didn't want to wait for relief. So what did they do? They took me with my broken face to Riverhead now, because I had to go in the medical tier, the single cells, you get locked in. And I'm sitting on the tier all night with my jaw broke in half. Now, I'm not a doctor either, but that does not seem like a good thing to do. So all night, I'm moaning and groaning, trying to get the COs to take me to the hospital, and nobody would answer, right? So I sat there with a t-shirt on my face. I couldn't lay down because my jaw would just shift into my mouth, and it was excruciating. So I sat down with my head down and a shirt on my face, which was saturated in blood. At 7 o'clock in the morning during shift change, CO sees me. He's like, yo, he's like, what the hell happened to you? I couldn't even talk. He's like, are you all right? I'm shaking my head. So he pulls me out. They take me to Stony Brook Dental at Stony Brook University Hospital for immediate oral surgery. Now, there's civilians in there, people with their kids, students. I come in the door in jail greens, handcuffed and shackled, pouring blood from my mouth, dried blood on my face, still bleeding a little bit. My face is out to here, tattooed up, probably look racist. I'm a skinhead, who knows? These people were petrified. Like, the stories that I probably gave them are hilarious. So they bring me in the back. I go right in. They sit me down in a dental chair. Dentist comes in. I think he had to have, I guess, gave me some Novocaine shots, but that's it. And I get handcuffed to the chair again, and he proceeds to wire my jaw shut, which is, I mean, if you've never had a broken jaw wired shut, at least mine, because it was like in half, was absolutely terrible. They put the wires through your teeth first, all these wires. Then they put the pieces in that they anchor to, and then they just vice them together. So I was like this. I couldn't talk. So they put me back on the medical tier after that. And I couldn't eat anything, obviously. So I was on an Ensure and soup broth diet. Terrible. Eating that every meal. Supposed to have it in 6 weeks. Didn't happen. Like 2.5, 3 weeks later, I go home. It's like right before July, 4th of July. I'm starving. So I take toenail clippers and I cut them out myself. Never was a smart guy, right? No common sense. I try to eat a banana, pause. I'll explain to you what pause means later too. But I tried to eat a banana. My jaw was so weak I couldn't even bite the banana, right? It took a while. I had to put all my food in my mother's magic bullet. I would be putting pickles in there, steak with sauce, because you always had to have a liquid, otherwise it would just be dry and you couldn't eat it. It was a terrible time. But long story longer, my mother takes me to a lawyer because what the sheriffs did by taking me back to the jail didn't seem right. Also, I was in an unsentenced dorm. I was already sentenced for 5 months. So that didn't seem right. We go to a lawyer. He confirms everything I say. He's like, listen, you have like a $70,000 to $100,000 lawsuit. But me being the person that I am and was, I was such a drug addict that I never went back. I was always just on the street doing nonsense. And, they say the Lord works in mysterious ways. Money's not for everybody. It's not for me. Especially back then. I probably would have for sure been dead or lost my life with that much money at that time. There's no way I would have made it. So I can't complain about it. I don't, cry about it. It is what it is. It's for the best. But, I mean, listen, guys, like I said, it was going to be a short one. That's basically Yaphank. There's not much else I could say about it. There's not much that goes on in there. But that's it. Sure, they say what's your price. Anyway, I appreciate you guys, as always. Love you to death. Anybody who gives me a minute of the day, you're all right with me. I appreciate the phone calls, the texts. Got in touch with another person from high school, and I'm grateful for it. I'm glad you guys helped me a lot. It may not seem that way, but you helped me a lot. This is like therapy for me. Yeah, I'm talking to myself, but I know people are listening, and I know because of the response also. And there's a lot of people that relate, And I'm grateful for it. Thank you, sincerely. As always, like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. The one video is almost at 3,000 views. There's only 37 subscribers. What's going on? I don't care if you never watch my video. I don't care. Subscribe, please. It takes 2 seconds. Go on there, hit the bell and the notifications, subscribe, and that's it. You're done. Go about your day. But I love you guys. Stay away from the police. Stay drug-free. Stay sucker-free. Have a good day.